Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be working on doing some extra structure on the framework of the car here, so that way it's a little bit stronger, and I know it's going to hold a little bit of power once we start making that type of power. So we've looked at this before, at least you've probably seen it in the background stuff, and like I've said, this isn't top-notch 100% professional fab work by any means, but it ought to work. So you're not going to learn unless you do it. At least that's how I do it. So anyhow, what I'm going to be working on today is I'm going to get this part right here. There's a plate right here, and it's going to have a piece of square tubing just like this, and it's going to come up off of that, and it's going to tie into this bar here. So that's just going to add a little bit of extra strength there, because obviously this back bar that holds the rear suspension part, which I want to put something right here to add a little support to that coilover. But anyways, this bar from the roll bar comes back and attaches onto this. So that's going to keep that pretty solid. But this whole area here, it's all relying off of hanging off of that plate that's welded to the floor and that sheet metal frame rail that's built into the car, basically. So I just want to add one more thing there, and it's going to give it a little bit of extra strength. So that won't be too bad to do. And the other thing is, down here, I need to add something to add some extra strength here too, because this bar comes back, and then it kicks up into this torque box. And there's a little bit of overhang off that pipe, but you know, I'd probably grind that down and make it look a little bit better. But if you see, you can probably see it right here. This bar comes up at a slight upward angle, the lower control arm, and then this one kind of goes at a slight downward angle. So anyhow, I just need to add something, maybe a gusset in between that bar that comes straight back and the top of this, just to make sure that that doesn't try to push too far upward and cause an issue right there. So we'll get right into that. I'm gonna go ahead and get the welder all set up and then start working on this thing. And you know, I'll try to do little maybe time lapses here and there, but for the most part, we're gonna catch back up with you here once I get the stuff in there, and then kind of talk about more of the future plans and what the car needs. As you can see, I've got the first little bar welded in there. Instead of using the square tubing, I went ahead and used a round tube, since that plate is just slightly offset from that one. So if I use square tubing, it wouldn't have been perfectly flush with the side of that plate. So with the round tube, I can kind of go at a slight angle. So anyways, if we look over here, we can see it come off of that plate there, and it shoots up and then goes into the bottom of that bar. So I just got to make one for the other side. And then as far as the areas down here, I'm just going to do a little gusset that kind of comes from the back of that plate there down to that bar there. After looking at it a little bit more, I think it's going to be strong enough. I mean, you've got the support of that whole frame rail with a plate right there, and then, you know, obviously that bar. So if I put a gusset kind of right there, it should distribute that force pretty decently. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on the other bar over here, and then I'll get onto these other ones, and then I really need to start looking at the front to see if I can get something figured out with mounting the sway bar. And in case you can't tell, it is hot today, so I'm sweating like crazy. But let's keep on going with this. I'm gonna stop, take a water break, and then see how much more I can get done today. Okay guys, so I've got the other piece welded in on the driver's side, and then I also went ahead and fixed these overhangs. You can't see it from here, but I used basically like a angle cut piece off the end of one of these square tubes, and welded kind of a cap over there where that overhangs. So that'll be good back there. And then, like I said, I've got these supports in here now. Those will work out great. So now the only other things I need to do on the back end is I need to get something to go out to here to help support the top part of this coil over here. And then I need to kind of do the same thing that I did up here on the underside of this. So that shouldn't really be too hateful. And then I have to put little pieces of metal kind of going from the front of this bar out to a certain point on these little ears here to help support that, so they don't get ripped off of that rail. And then that should pretty much finish up all of the back end stuff. So the only other things that I need to do back here is I need to get a floor pan made up, and then I'm gonna have to come up with a removable firewall for the back. I might make the rear floor pan removable too, just for the fact that if I ever want to go back in and do anything, I'll be able to just unscrew the plate or the pieces and then be able to do anything that I want there. So I'm gonna start cleaning up now, but we're gonna get right back on this tomorrow. Okay, there we have it. I've got those extra supporting plates on the top there. The welds didn't turn out too hateful. Got a little sloppy on this side, but overall that should really help out the strength of that. Unnecessary, maybe, but reassuring, most definitely. So we get back here, you can see how they attach right there. I'm so happy with how these turned out. I mean, maybe they're not how they should be, but they at least look good in my opinion, I guess. So the other thing is there's that little end cap I was talking about. Kind of just straddles it right over that and kind of connects it there. So I just got to let these cool down, then I can hook those back up. But I'm about out of welding gas, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day there. Overall, it really didn't turn out too bad. I mean, I got the extra structure on the kind of bars that come back like I wanted to get, and then I got those plates on there, and then kind of finished off that front bar there. So I'm really happy with what I was able to get done this weekend. The weather was not on my side, which is why today is Monday, and I kind of had to start working on it today. Luckily, I had a day off, so happy Memorial Day, by the way. Anyhow, that'll be about it. About out of welding gas. Don't really want to run it completely dry. And then this is the sway bar that I need to get in. We'll probably do this maybe next weekend, just depends on if I have my daughter or not. But if I don't, then we'll try to get this thing in there. Like I said, this is a beefy unit right here. I mean, this thing is crazy. So should definitely add some stability to the car. It might not need that much, considering that I'm really only wanting to go in a straight line. But go big or go home, right? Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.